Autumn has that unique charm. The days get cooler, the streets take on earthy tones, and your wardrobe calls for cozier textures. It feels almost natural to want to reflect this change by bringing autumn-inspired colors into your outfits. But not every color that looks perfect on the rack or in magazine photos works the same way on the body, especially after 60, when the way your skin interacts with light changes quite a bit.
With that in mind, I've selected some typical fall colors that may not flatter mature skin, and more importantly, alternatives that work much better. This isn't about boring rules, it's about feeling good in what you wear and using fashion to your advantage. 1. Very dark brown. Dark brown, that almost black coffee shade, has a visual weight that can be interesting in certain pieces, but near the face, it can cast an unwanted shadow effect. It became a fashion classic precisely because it conveys seriousness, stability, and even an intellectual vibe. Think old libraries, leather, and vintage furniture. But when it comes to women's clothing after 60, it's important to notice how it interacts with the skin's natural glow. Unlike in your 30s or 40s, when skin still reflects more light, in maturity, that strong contrast can emphasize fine lines, under-eye circles, and even give a tired look, even when you're well-rested. That doesn't mean cutting brown out of your life, just using it strategically. Pants, boots, structured bags, and belts in dark brown work beautifully because they don't compete with the face. But in tops, turtlenecks, or coats worn closed, it's a different story. A much better alternative is medium browns, camel, caramel, toffee. These tones are warm, closer to the golden light of autumn, and soften the look without losing elegance. A camel trench coat with dark jeans and a white blouse gives you that effortless sophistication. And if you like a bolder touch, add a printed scarf in green, burgundy, or deep blue. The contrast instantly brightens the face. Another option is to go for warm beige or even terracotta, colors that keep things natural while adding vitality. In short, it's not that brown ages you, it's how it interacts with your skin. Worn away from the face, it's a classic. Near the face, always choose shades that bring back light. After all, elegance is also about balancing shadow and shine. 2. Yellowish mustard. Mustard is one of those shades that at first glance looks sophisticated, modern, even bold. It recalls dried leaves, spices, and that retro vibe that was huge in the 70s. No wonder it keeps popping up on runways when fall arrives. But the truth is, this specific shade, that darker mustard with a yellowish green undertone, might not be the best ally for skin after 60. That's because it tends to pull light downward, emphasizing spots and dark circles and creating a contrast that can harden your features. Yellow is a color associated with energy, vitality, and freshness, which is exactly why it's worth choosing versions that reflect light instead of absorbing it. Butter yellow is a delicate, creamy, almost neutral option that brightens the face. Soft gold, leaning into satin-like metallics, adds subtle radiance. Another alternative is pale canary yellow, used in small touches, like in a scarf or a blouse under a neutral blazer. These tones work because they're gentle on the skin and naturally fresh. For everyday looks, you can swap a mustard blouse for one in soft yellow and pair it with navy or charcoal gray. The contrast looks elegant and modern. For relaxed occasions, light yellow in accessories like a small bag or shoes brings the same autumnal spirit, but in a lighter way. Another idea is to keep mustard confined to prints, never worn alone. When mixed with burgundy, dark green, or petrol blue, the eye sees harmony, and the heaviness of the mustard fades. That way, you keep the fall reference without compromising your facial brightness. At the end of the day, it's not about giving up yellow. It's about choosing the version that brings energy to your expression. Because maturity calls for colors that match your strength, but also the freshness you still radiate. 3. Dull olive green. Olive green is a fall-winter classic. It evokes nature, dried leaves, military uniforms, and gives off a feeling of groundedness. But because it's dark, muted, and slightly grayish, it can be unflattering when worn near the face after 60. This kind of green tends to drain color from the skin, leaving you looking tired, as if you've lost vibrancy. Green, in general, represents balance, renewal, and freshness. So instead of clinging to dull olive, explore versions with more luminosity. Light olive, for example, keeps the depth but adds warmth. Emerald green is elegant and vibrant, lighting up the face without overdoing it. Another great alternative is petrol green, deep but with a blue base that works better with various mature skin tones. In practice, think of an emerald silk blouse with black tailored pants. Simple yet instantly elegant. For daytime, a light olive coat over blue jeans creates a casual, modern look with presence. And if you love olive, you can keep it in pants, skirts, or accessories. It works beautifully when it's not in direct contact with your face. Another way to soften olive green is to wear it in prints that offer contrast. Stripes with white, florals with rosy tones, or even combos with warm beige. That takes the heaviness out and brings vitality back to the look.
The main point is this: green can be your ally, as long as it brings freshness instead of dulling your features. At 60, more than ever, your look should reflect energy. And it's not the muted shade that does that, but the greens that shine with you. 4. Dark burgundy or deep wine. Few colors deliver instant sophistication quite like deep burgundy. It calls to mind red wine, winter evenings, and classic elegance. But in practice, very deep burgundy can be harsh on mature skin.
It darkens the face area, highlights tiredness, and flattens your expression, especially when worn in tops, full dresses, or scarves near the neckline. That's because deep wine is very close to dark brown, a color that absorbs rather than reflects light. In youth, the contrast with fair or medium skin might even be appealing, but after 60, it risks creating a heavy look, lacking the vibrancy many women want at this stage. The good news is, the red color family is vast and full of amazing options. Cherry red, for instance, is brighter and conveys energy without losing elegance. Raspberry strikes a rare balance. It's bold yet refined, with a slight pink undertone. Another alternative is rosy wine, still deep but fresher, perfect for silk blouses or flowy dresses. A practical example: swap a deep burgundy coat for a raspberry blazer. Pair it with dark jeans and a neutral blouse. Suddenly, the outfit has a youthful, modern energy without looking forced. For those who prefer subtlety, a dress in dark cherry with gold accessories makes a strong but radiant statement. And if you love classic wine tones, use them strategically in structured handbags, mid-heel shoes, or even a skirt. In these pieces, the color adds sophistication without dulling your expression. In the end, the secret is simple. The right red works like lipstick. It brightens your face, lights up your eyes, and adds vitality. But a shade that's too deep can do the opposite. 5. Dull charcoal gray. Gray is a color that conveys neutrality, understated elegance, and even modernity. But dull charcoal,
That dark, almost matte gray can be one of the least flattering shades in a wardrobe after 60. It not only steals light from the face, but can also make a look feel rigid, something few people want at this stage of life. Instead of offering sophistication, flat charcoal can give a worn-out appearance, as if the look lacks freshness. The reason is simple. This gray belongs to the cool, heavy palette that absorbs more than it reflects.
On mature skin, which naturally loses brightness over time, it amplifies that lack of glow. A charcoal sweater, for example, worn on its own, tends to harden facial features and highlight fine lines. But that doesn't mean giving up on gray. The secret is to lighten the palette or add shine. Light silver gray works almost like a natural highlighter, bouncing light back to the face.
Pearl gray is soft and elegant, perfect for shirts, blazers, and even understated dresses. For those who love impact, metallic silver is a modern alternative, especially in accessories or shoes, adding a current touch with ease. For everyday looks, swap a charcoal coat for a light gray one. Pair it with black or navy to keep things refined, but without dulling your skin. Another idea is to play with textures. A pearl gray knit or a gray silk blouse is light, sophisticated, and refreshes the look. And if you want to keep charcoal in your wardrobe, use it as a base for vibrant colors. A red scarf, turquoise necklace, or light mustard bag breaks the stiffness and brings back vitality. In short, gray isn't the enemy, but dull charcoal can be tricky.
The key is to keep it away from the face or soften it with contrast and brightness. Because what flatters you at 60 isn't muting, it's illuminating. And now I want to hear from you. Which of these colors do you still insist on wearing, and which one have you already swapped for a lighter version? Tell me in the comments. I'd love to know.